Hey everybody, in this lesson we're going to talk about the periodic table. So the periodic table is organized in a certain way so the properties of the elements are similar. So here is the periodic table. As you see, it's organized very specifically. So we're going to learn how to read certain things about this periodic table. We're going to learn how to use it for this class. So first off, how is the periodic table organized? Well, first of all, the biggest one is that the periodic table is organized by ascending atomic number. Now, we learned that from our last lesson that atomic number is the number of protons. So that the periodic table is ascending protons. So you see hydrogen has atomic number 1. It is going up by 1. So it has a proton of 1. Helium is 2. Lithium 3. Beryllium 4. Boron 5. Carbon 6, and so forth. So that's the first thing you're going to notice. The second thing, the rows are what you call periods, while the columns are called families. Some people also call them, or it's another word for groups. Alright, so if you look at this, we have our rows. Each of these rows are called a period. So row, as in rowing a boat, you row across. Columns hold buildings, so they go up and down. Alright, the last thing you notice is that metals on left, non-metals on the right. So right here are our metals. So our metals are all these row, this row, all these blue ones, and our non-metals are over here. You notice there's a staircase here. This staircase is our staircase that divides our metals from our non-metals. Now the elements that hug the staircase, aka silicon, germanium, arsenic, antimony, and so forth, these are called our metalloids or semi-metals. They are the elements that share properties of both metals and non-metals. Now we see the staircase, a lot of times you think it's a big change, aluminum to silicon, big change, metal, non-metal. But no, it's actually more of a spectrum. So you're going to have more metallic things on the left side, more non-metallic things on the right side, but it's a spectrum in a sense. So we have 4 families. What are they? Well, the 4 families, first of all, our first family is called the alkali metals. Now, the alkali metals are what we call our group 1 metals, and they are very reactive. The reason why is because they have 1 outer electron, and that will come into play when we go into Bohr models. So these are our alkali metals. They have what we call +1 charge, and they are very reactive. So you see the name right here, alkali metals. Hydrogen can act in a sense like an alkali metal. Alright, so they are very reactive. They have a +1 ion charge. Our second family are the alkaline earth metals. And these are group 2 elements. They are reactive still, and they're reactive because they have 2 outer electrons, which means that they actually have a +2 ion charge. So our alkali metals are the ones right beside the alkali metals, and these are beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, and radium. So these have a +2 charge. They are reactive still. Then our next family, we have to actually go all the way across to right here. All right, we have our halogens. So our halogens are our third family. And they are group 17. And they are reactive. They are actually not just reactive, they're very reactive. Because they have what we call 7 outer electrons, which gives them a -1 ion charge. So these are, for example, our fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, okay? These are our halogens. Hydrogen can act like a halogen as well because it also has a -1 charge. Our last family is the one that doesn't actually react, and it's our noble gases. Our noble gases are group 18, and they are unreactive. So these are elements at the very end, far right side of the periodic table, like helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon. These are our noble gases. They have, first of all, a 0 charge, and they're unreactive. So the last thing we're going to talk about is, how do ions form? What are ions? Well, ions are basically, you can think of them as, they are when an atom gains or loses electron. And because of that, they become charged. So how do they do that? Well, metals will typically lose electrons. And when they do that, become positive ions. And we have a special name for these positive ions. We call them cations. While the nonmetals will gain electrons. And because of that, they become negative ions. And we have a name for them too. They're called anions. So these are examples of how ions are formed. So metals will lose electrons, they become positive ions, cations. Nonmetals will gain electrons, they become negative ions, and thus they become anions. As always, make sure you keep yourself safe and healthy, and I'll see you soon.